We're going to look at Math Minute 19. Number 1 says, about how many inches long is this line segment? The options are 1, 3, 12, or 25. Well, if I look at this line, an inch long is probably about right there. So if I broke this up into thirds, 1, 2, 3, 3 inches would make up this line. 1 inch right here would be too small. 12 inches, I mean, that's a foot, so that's going to be about, the length of this piece of paper. And then 25 inches would be 2.5 feet. So how long is this line segment? It would be about 3 inches. Number 2 says, cross out the three-dimensional shape. Well, if I call this shape 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Shapes 1, 2, 3, and 5, all we're seeing is the front of the shape, or the surface. Whereas if I look at shape 4, I can see this top part in here, which would kind of be like the top of a can. So the fact that I can see that part and not just the surface or the front of the shape means that it's three-dimensional. And it said it wanted us to cross out the three-dimensional shape. So we're going to go ahead and cross out shape 4. Number 3 says if 1/2 times 3/5 equals 3 over 10, then 1/3 times 4 over 5 equals what? Remember, the easiest way to multiply fractions, or to think about multiplying fractions, is you're just going to multiply the top numbers and then you're going to multiply the bottom numbers. So if I go across the top, 1 times 4 is 4. And then I multiply the bottom numbers, 3 times 5 is 15. So 1/4 or 1/3 times 4 over 5 is going to equal 4 over 15. Number 4, or 4 and 5, we're going to use the circle graph to the right. Number 4 says, how much of the circle does region C represent? We can remember that a full circle is 100%. And we can see that half of this circle is C. So what we want to do is we want to figure out what half of 100 is. So to do that, I could do 100 divided by 2. And if I do that, that would be 50. So we would say, how much of this circle does region C represent? We could say 50%, or we could say 1/2, half the circle. Is region A more or less than 1/4? Well, if I draw another circle, and if I were to break this up into fourths, it would look like that. So this would be 1/4, this would be 1/4, this would be 1/4, and this would be 1/4. So if I compare this little section here to this little A section, we can see that it's a little less than this part. So if I were to draw this part down here, this part would kind of come in there like that. So section A, or region A of this graph, is going to be a little less than 1/4. So we'll put less there. Number 6, find the number that completes the problem. So some number times 7 is going to equal 168. Well, to do that, I'm just going to do the opposite of what it's saying right here. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to do 168. I'll do long division, divided by 7. How many times does 7 go into 16? It goes in twice. And then I multiply these two. 7 times 2 is 14. I'm going to subtract. 16 minus 14 is 2. I'm going to bring down the 8. Then I say, how many times is 7 going to 28? It goes in 4 times. 4 times 7 is 28. There's going to be nothing left over. So this missing number here is a 4. Because 24 times 7 would give me 168. Number 7 says, if a equals 4, then 10a equals what? Well, whenever you have a number and a letter next to each other like that, that means multiplication. So I'm just going to put the 4 in where the a is, and I'm going to multiply. So I'm just going to do 10 times 4. Well, 10 times 4 is 40. The key for this one, though, is remember that when you see a number and a letter next to each other like that, that means multiplication. If you rearrange the numbers of the year 2007, what is the largest number you can make? Well, I'm just going to ask myself, what's the biggest number between 2, 0, 0, and 7? Well, the biggest number is 7. And then the next biggest number after that is the 2. And then my last 2 numbers are going to be zeros. So the biggest number I can make out of a 2, a 0, a 0, and a 7 is 7,200. Number 9 is just some multiplication. 9 times 7 would be 63. 25 times 6, easiest way to do this would be to stack it vertically. 5 times 6 is 30. 0 goes there. 3 goes up here. 6 times 2 is 12. And then I add the 3. 12 plus 3 is 15. So that's 150. 3 times 12. Again, stack it vertically. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3, or 36. Number 10, these are just some basic division problems. Remember, this line here means divide, so we're doing 49 divided by 7, which is 7. 56 divided by 8 is also 7. 27 divided by 9 is going to give you 3. So go ahead and turn this in using Kami to get credit for Math Minute 19.